folks, this is Kara Barnard. I'm going to get you started on our adventure together today by teaching you how to tune your dulcimer. So if you've got my primer book, the Mountain Dulcimer Primer, go to page 3 now and let's read through these directions together, okay? We're going to skip the facts. You can read that on your own and let me know if you have questions. Let's go right down to what we're working on today, which is tuning your dulcimer to DAD tuning. The fancy word for this is mixolydian tuning, okay? When you tighten a string, the pitch rises. When you loosen a string, the string will drop in pitch. Always pick the string you are tuning and listen to the pitch change as you turn the tuner. Let's talk about what that means. So I'm going to hit my low bass D string. It is not in tune right now. Okay? As I move my tuner, I hear it going up. The pitch is going up as I tighten that string. As I loosen the string, the pitch will go down. Okay? Now you need to experiment with that a little bit. Sometimes a tuner is set up to where you just barely move it and the pitch changes a whole lot. Sometimes you can crank and crank and crank and the string barely changes. The most important thing though is that you're picking the string and listening to it while you make the changes. If you're picking your string and it's not changing at all and you're cranking away on a tuner, you're probably on the wrong tuner, and that's a really fast way to break a string, okay? So pick the string and listen. Make sure you're in control of the one that you want to be in control of, okay? All right. So having at least one of these items on hand will help your tuning situation, but not a lot of people have all of these things on hand. What you really should have is an electronic tuner of some sort. I like my Snark. Right now it's my current favorite. That can change depending on what's coming out and when. But if you have an electronic tuner, I would also suggest that you go to a small music store in your town, buy the electronic tuner, and ask the person at that music store to show you how to use it. That's the advantage over buying from a small local store over buying from an online source, okay? All right, so I wrote that one of the things that you might want to have on hand is a piano. Not a lot of people have a piano on hand. A guitar, I happen to have one right here if I need it. A pitch pipe or an electronic tuner. Today I'm going to use an electronic tuner. You want to match the pitch of your D bass string below middle C on the piano. All right, that should sound. Let's listen to what this guitar's got for a D on it. Okay, that's probably a pretty close D. I don't think the guitar is in tune, so don't use that. But let's see how close we are. This one's lower. I'm going to tighten it up to make it match. About match that guitar string. That's pretty close. And then I'm going to use my electronic tuner. I'm going to turn it on. Now, if you've got one like this, they're designed to like clip onto your instrument. This one's broken right now. And I'll show you what I do. It's kind of handy that it's broken because this little top of it came off, so the clip's not on it. What I was going to tell you is if you've got one that's got a clip on it and there's no place to clip it, you can just set it on your instrument and it'll work just fine, okay? So that should say D, and that's a little bit flat. So I'm going to tighten that up. Okay, now I've got my low D bass string in tune. That's what yours should sound like. And you can use this video if you want and match the pitches to this video. There we go. All right, step 1, match the pitch of your D bass string to the D below middle C on your piano. We skipped over that and we just used the tuner. You can also match your bass string to the D string of a tuned guitar. I talked about that. And then we just had the electronic tuner that we used. Okay, step 2, all right? Fret your freshly tuned bass string at the 4th fret. Okay, here's my 4th fret right there. And listen to that note. Ah, here's a little secret. If you can carry a tune in a bucket and hum, ah, this is going to help you. Now you want your second string, your middle string, to sound just like that note. Let's listen to my middle string. Whoa, that is way off. All right, I'm going to reach down here and I'm going to start tightening it up because it's too low. My guess is that's pretty close. Let me listen to my 4th fret on my low D string again. And I'm humming that note. I'm humming that note. I'm not feeling a difference in the pitch of my voice, okay? Sometimes if you have trouble hearing a note and comparing it to the next note, if your ears aren't working for you and you actually hum that, you'll hear and feel the rise or the fall in your vocal. So listen, let me show you what I mean by, for an example here. This is the note that my middle string should sound like. My middle string is a little bit lower. So my vocal helped me figure that out, because just in case my ears failed me. Sometimes it's hard to hear it. I'm going to tighten that up. Okay, I think that sounds pretty good. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about really quickly that is not in my book, but I can talk to you about it because we've got the video thing going on here. There are 2 different kinds of strings that the mountain dulcimer uses. A plain string, P-L-A-I-N, plain string, and a wound string. Your low bass D string is a wound string. Now, what that means is that there's a single wire with another wire wound around it, okay? Your middle string is what's referred to as a plain string. It's just a single wire. Now, there's a huge tonal difference between those. So if I listen to this note, and I play my middle string, those are in tune, but there is a real different tonal variation in both of those. And it's sort of like this. Okay, that's the difference in the tone. Don't let that fool you to think that that string in the middle is too high. Listen to it again. The pitch is right on. Tonally, though, that middle string is going to sound a lot, what I would refer to as brighter. It's going to be a lot brighter. Don't let that fool you. It's in tune. Okay? All right. So we've got our second string A, our middle string A in tune. Step 3, fret your freshly tuned middle string at the 3rd fret and match your melody string to this D note. Okay? So I'm going to fret my middle string that I just tuned on the 3rd fret, and I'm going to listen to that note. My melody string should sound just like that. It's way low. Here's the string, here's the note that I want it to sound like. Here's my melody string, I'm lower, so I need to tighten it up. You'll notice I'm picking it as I go so I can hear that tone or the pitch change. Okay, I think that's about right. Let me listen again. 3rd fret, middle string note. Here's my melody string. It was a little tiny bit flat. That's hard for the human ear to pick up. Alright, that's pretty darn close. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my electronic tuner to fine tune. So you always want to get your instrument in tune first, pretty close by ear, and then do the fine tuning with your electronic tuner. Okay, that's in tune. That A is questionably in tune. It kind of went like this a little bit, like it might be sharp. But for the most part, it's in tune. We're going to leave it at that. And here's my melody string. And that's a tiny bit sharp. Now, the other way that you can tune an instrument is you can get to know my mother really well. My mother's in her 80s now. So she doesn't travel as much as she used to. But if you can get to know her and send her a plane ticket, she'll fly to your home. And when you're playing your instrument, if she goes like this and then suddenly like that, you know your instrument's out of tune. And when she has a smile on her face again, you know that your instrument's in tune. Okay? All right. So let me play each one of these notes for you again. That's my low bass. That's what yours should sound like. That's your middle string. And here's your melody string. Now, if you have more than 3 strings on your dulcimer, here's probably what you got. If you've got 2 strings where your bass string is, you should have a low bass, and then right next to it, you're going to have a skinny high octave up from that one. So you would sound low bass, and right next to it would be a high D, okay? Your middle string, you're almost never going to see a middle string doubled up, so let's not even go there. If you have two melody strings, they're going to sound identical. Both of them should sound exactly alike, okay? When you double up your strings, you give your instrument more of a chorused effect, okay? I like playing with just 3 strings because I do a lot of fancy stuff. Hammer-ons and pull-offs sound a lot better. You don't have to even worry about that yet. I designed some beginning dulcimers through a couple of different builders, and I had them specifically made with just 3 strings on them. You only need 3 strings, okay? Now, if you like the sound of the 5 strings or 4 strings, that is fine. You can learn to play through this book with any amount of strings you want on a 3-string dulcimer, if that makes sense. All right? Hey, listen, we're just getting started. I want you to really practice getting your dulcimers in tune. You can always find me to ask me questions through karabarnard.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you've got. When we meet up again, we'll start talking about timing and note values. I believe that lesson is on page 4. Yeah, we're going to go over page 4 and 5 together when we get together next. 4, 5, and 6. All right? So practice up on the tuning. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.